Let's put the entry models into practice. Now guys, in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of examples. I'm trying to show you every single entry model that we use, but probably we will see already that the M1 boss is one that we will not use that often because price will simply not allow us to get into the M1 boss. Super important, just to give you a quick reminder, the M1 boss is very often too late. People just have a wrong belief in the M1 boss that this is the perspective that they need to look for, but in reality, the M1 boss is also just something to trap you at the end or to give you confirmation in a context where nobody's looking at. So we want to always get different results than the standard SMC traders. So we need to just simply think a little bit different, okay? So let's get it started. As you can see, I'm here on the latest EU chart. We're going to go over some examples. And I'm just going to show you right now step by step on how we approach that. So very important for me is when I look to my entries, right? I do not check out right now the 4 hours and all these things right now for my entries. For my entries, I want to choose an M15 area. That's important. I mean, yes, I refine everything down and so on, but for me, the most relevant part of everything is that we choose an M15 block. Then, look at this, I go to the M5. On the M5, I see here, it's okay, you know, you could say that's okay. Or you want to get for the actual refinement, which is this one here, so the lowest point. And then I already see, okay, cool, I got my liquidity here. So this is exactly what I wanted to see in reality. So I see here a form of liquidity, okay, which makes it for me totally cool to say, yes, I'm going to get into this trade. Then I go to the M1 to look for further refinements, okay, but keep in mind, you should not always refine too much. In this case, if you come here, what you could do is, and that's a thing that I like to do, is I come here and I understand one simple thing. Yes, this is my new OB. The M5 block was the whole thing here, but was kind of smaller at the top. For me, I like to use the whole block. For instance, if I think price will more than likely not come too much to the downside because there's already so much liquidity laying around and the price action is super fast or anything like that in the nature, but more than likely it will always come to the M1. So this is the best thing to use, right? So price should not really fake out here because the market is always reacting from an M1. So I just refine it to an M1. I'm just saying to you these details just to keep in mind because technically price could go down and hunt the M1 block, go down and move up. And then it's still valid because the M5 was valid then at that point. And the M1 was just like, in this case then, you could say maybe it used the wicks. So just to keep that in mind a little bit, but I would not focus too much on that. But I'm just saying this fact right now that you're not surprised if such a scenario will happen, okay? So we have our low, we have the M1 block, and what we do is right now we wait for price to come into this area and we just look a little bit to understand the overall price action right now around this. So let me just go here back. And what you can see is, and that's the interesting thing here, you will see already how price is trapping everybody here. And this is very cool because that's giving you like additional confirmation. So you got to first place your liquidity here, which price did took out. Now, this price action in reality did not mitigate something, right? So you still have here in between an imbalance. And that's what the algo wants to fill in. So what we want to see at least is price coming and hunting this and coming at least till the beginning of the demand area, ideally even lower. So for us right now, from the standpoint, what we can do just by understanding how the order blocks and everything look like is we just come here and put our buy limit exactly like this. That's the ideal situation. A little bit more, you know, just to be sure that it will not take you out for the spread and so on. That's an ideally thing. What I like to do very often is also, I just go here and say, okay, I just let the price tag me in because I want to get a 1 pip. But as I said, this is something which will lead to you to not get into too many trades because that will not happen every single day. And you need to use also the seconds for that because maybe price will come, will not take you in your M1, in your 1 pip stop loss trade setup, and then you need to monitor a second to see if it will give you further confirmations there. So what do we see right now here? If we look at the price action, well, you got your M1 boss right up here. So that would technically right now make it valid for you to take an entry, because you got your M1 boss right here to the upside, of course to the downside, plus it tagged here a little bit of liquidity. But here is the important thing right now about everything. It did not mitigate the M1 OB. And if that is not the case, for me, it is not valid to consider any entries. Also, if you just look on the price action right now to understand it, even if you would say it is considered to be a valid M1 boss and you're looking right now to enter based on that, first of all, you should wait right now because you are 3 minutes before the landing opening. So what you could say right now is, for instance, hey yo, why not using this demand? Okay, because I see already liquidity laying above, and I get here in, and then it should move up, right? This is exactly what every SMC trader looks at. Why don't we look at it? You see here liquidity. You see here liquidity. So the whole thing here is just pure liquidity in reality. And you did not mitigate the M1. So if you would use this, then you're using the exact demand area that every SMC trader is using. So do you think that this will work out? Well, let's see. Well, first it tapped into it pretty aggressively. Okay, we still got 2 minutes. And opening, even if you just wait for the opening, it will save you so much money because the opening is already showing you, no, don't use this OB. Okay, if you can read price. Many people do not wait for the opening. Sometimes, it will just take off. If that would have been really the valid OB, but we know already that it isn't, but let's say the whole context will be different. It could have been just working out because it's valid. Then sometimes it also occurs that it would just take off 2 or 3 minutes before, but still you will get your opportunity to get in. Do not forget that. So I'm just saying right now, a lot of experienced things that people always forget. So this is for us what? A typical trap demand area where everybody's looking at. What we do look is down there, boom, and we got tagged in. And price should now move in our direction that we wish for. Then look at this. You got your M1 boss, right? That's exactly where you are expecting price to go. Well, now, where is your entry? Your entry is here, right? That's what everybody is again mapping out. Every SMC trader say, okay, M1 boss, liquidity grab, additional liquidity grab, perfect. Okay, what will market do? Taking out right now new high, so it's going even higher. Do you think right now that this price could still come lower? Now, if it wouldn't take out the high, maybe it would have been possible. But you even take out a high. So now look at this. SMC traders will look here to take long because you got another M1 boss. Should you do that? No. Because then exactly this is what will happen to you. Liquidity grab. It's just trapping again people here to make them believe that this is the area to go. So this is what me personally, I'm not that big of a fan of an M1 boss, because the M1 boss is just here to trap you in many ways. So ideally what you do is you just enter at the points where it makes sense. And in this case, exactly at this area here, because this is your POI. Here you expect price to return. So this is your level where you should consider your entry confirmations. And your entry confirmations are risk type of entry, because you got so many confluences right now, right? You got your liquidity here, you got liquidity here, and then you got your trap play already here. So this is also a form of entry models, okay? Very important. That's what we've learned. Okay, liquidity grab. People just do not see that because they're so focused on the M1 boss. But this is just another form of liquidity grabbing, and that is for me a valid entry model to take my trades. So when I see this play, I know, okay, it will come here and I can get into this trade. Here, let's see what price is doing. It's moving. Additionally, what we could do is now, I'm just showing you right now, the 5 seconds. So if you want to get your M1 boss, right, your break of structure confirmation, you will get that because it's simply the result of price moving in one direction, and this is why we expect price to continue that one. And here in this case, what you can see is the 5 seconds. And on the 5 seconds, you can easily see here the same concept. This is nothing complicated. Break of structure, right? In the first place, it's breaking structure down, breaking structure up, and then it's coming back in some form of level of demand. And now in this case, I know you cannot really see a clean demand. Now, I would say it's this one, but this is such a tiny area, but it's good. Why? Because it's protecting the low. And that's the only thing that you should care about the 5 seconds. The 5 seconds should be just placed like that, that you are covering up the low. So this low should be protected. A little bit more is always good, and you just enter here. So you see here, you got a little bit of liquidity, right? It's even taking out this, so everything is cool. Just look to enter here. Do not take this right now too crazy that you need to find your perfect OB like on the M1. On M1, it's definitely relevant to pick up a valid OB in all the other time frames as well. But when it comes to the seconds, this is not relevant. On the seconds, you just want to see a slight change of character, slight change of break of structure, right? So here, this is price is moving down, so it's sweeping the low, sweeping up the high. Perfectly, ideally, you can expect price to continue with this movement. That is all you need. Okay, so in this case, the 5 seconds would be also an ideal confirmation entry here, and then you go for it. If you do not understand that the fact that price is here, like, you know, it's valid, right? So here, what I like to use is also, if the 1 pip will not drag me in, for instance, if I got right now 1 pip, the 1 pip is not dragging me in, like in this case would be the case, then I like to check out very quickly the 5 seconds, understand this most recent price action, and then I can still go with my 1 pip, for instance. Or I use even more because I'm aware of missing it one more time. So for me, it's always a 1 to 2 pip maximum, but I like to trade, and then that is totally fine for me. Okay, so that was one of the entry models, and I would say this entry model is one of the best if you see that trap, because you know already the majority got faking out, and that is very ideally for us to take and consider a trade. Let's go and let's see some more examples. Here at the top, a very interesting one. So I already mapped out a little bit for you just to make it easier now to understand. What I did is the bigger line here, the bigger area is the M15 supply zone, okay? And the smaller one is just the M5. In this case, I didn't refine it to the M1 because the M5 was already fine. So as you can see here, wonderful candle. We could refine it also till this. It's also possible, but whenever I see like these candles, I like to just use, you know, here is where the whole market starts to move down. So it's already pretty clean to use. Yeah. Okay, so we got these points, and we just go straight to the M1 because we want to see what price is doing at these areas. Now, we do not see right now the M1 order block. Okay, that is important, because if we go right now here to refine the M1 order block, you see already I need to go pretty, yeah, it is not easy to go here to the left, so you need to scroll a lot, and whenever you got something like that, then the order block is very to the past, and I would not consider this too crazy at that time. So it's okay if you just refine it till the M5, and here the M1 would be something here at the top. Okay, but you will learn, or you know already from the other sections, what price needs to do. So this is, I'm not going to go right now too much into the details about why and how. We just go right now on the entry confirmations, And in this example, we just react from an M5 block, okay? So here, interesting to see, once price comes into it, what do you see is, again, the same thing. Price giving you the M1 boss. So people believe, again, price is about to go. Now this is a little bit cheeky because it really tapped into the M5 block, and that would be technically valid right now to take. However, if you have such a big area like this one, okay, then this is a little bit too less. That mitigation is a little bit too less. And you can see it already here. It was too less because price was just here to target it and then to go crazy down, right? So in this case, how you could have been placing your trade, and this is right now not ideal because the whole OB is just too big, right? So it would have been after price, it's taking out the high, and then you need to place your trade somehow like this. Would have been a very, how should I say, I would not take that. 100%, I would not take that. Would only be a 6 risk reward trade, so it's not what I'm looking for. But I'm just saying, look at this. There are also examples where you just simply do not get your trade here. Now, people are always so frustrating if they see them price moving because they've been so sure about price will go down. Because here, look at this. What we have is, again, liquidity, right? Price is making here a lot of creating here a lot of liquidity, and it was quite obvious that it would go down. And this is why they made this trap, to bring out the people who thought it is so obvious, to make them believe it's not that obvious anymore. But very important for us is to understand, do not give up, because your entry chance will come 100% always. So what we see is, next thing, price is breaking structure to the downside, right? So the next M1 boss. But in this case, it's even taking out here some form of higher time frame structure as well, and it's moving down. Now, what do you see? You're in a new context, and you see here a nice order block on the M1, and you see here your liquidity, which is laying right below this one, where SMC traders do look here to take their trade, specifically because it's giving them the reaction that they want to see. And this is the point where you need to then understand, okay, cool, this is my liquidity, and here is the area where I want to take my trade. Now here, the same thing. What I would do is, I understand that there is a ton of liquidity, and I understand that I want to get into this trade. So how I do it is I just place, again, my 1 to 2 pip stop loss, set up 1 or here 2. Okay, then I cover up exactly the half of the order block, and that's super ideal, and I can go for the trade. And as you can see, it will provide me a very phenomenal risk reward of, even with 2 pips, of 22. So that would be a 44 risk reward with a 1 pip stop loss, which would have been here easy possible. But like I said, you do not need to focus on a 1 pip stop loss, because especially at the beginning, I know it's not super easy, and you need to get used to it. So look at this. People, what are they doing again? And this is why it works so wonderful, everything with the risk type of entries, because we want to cover up always the high. That's for us the most relevant point at this risk type of entry. It is this fact: price is reacting. So many people think, hey yo, I need to get here. This is exactly where, when price will reverse to make the pullback, it come to this area to take out the high one more time, and then they got liquidated one more time. And that's super funny, because this is right now here also a trap movement. So that one rejection, because retailers, SMC traders and so on, they always look for rejections and all these things. And then they got even a BOS to the upside. Maybe they believe again, yo, this thing will go to the upside, and we just know, hey, we didn't violate it, the OB, everything is cool, we just want to see the short, because that's what price needs to go. And then you got really your M1 boss to the downside, right? So then it's the first time in history you can use your M1 boss here, and it is exactly at the next laying OB, which is this one. Could be an option for you to take this. It's not ideal. Why? Because it's a pretty big stop loss in this case, I think. Oh no, it's 2 pip. That's cool. That is already cool to take. A little bit more, yes, 2.5. You should protect the the green candle there as well. So it's a 3 pip stop loss. It's not ideal for me personally, but it's still possible to go, right? So why not? You can use that. And yeah, but that would be your M1 boss. You can see right now already your M1 boss does not give you the results that you wish for. Let's continue. You can see then price just starting to establish some form of bearish order flow. Why can you take right now this entry? It didn't break something, right? So this is just equal lows. It didn't break something. Still, you can take it because it's just the next laying OB, and price should protect that if it wants to remain bearish. Because where should it go? It can go just to another OB, and the next OB would be somewhere here at the top. So that would invalidate the whole idea of taking shorts. So this is why price should not do that, because you always need to go with the rules of what you think of price will do based on what you analyzed on a higher time frame and mid time frames. So order flow entry, boom, 2 points or 2 pip stop loss, pretty nice, insane risk reward possibility from here, and you go short and so on, and you take the next trade. For instance, you don't need to take that much trades, but you can. Here what you see again is the next order flow entry with the M1 boss to the downside, right? So price is going down. You can see here price giving you a little bit of liquidity. Okay, so you can use this liquidity here for extra confluences, and I would just use it to just tag me in, right? So to put my sell limit right there so I can get really in this OB. And then you see again, you have what kind of stop loss? About 3 pips, 2.8. Okay, it's not ideal stop loss, but hey, it's cool. You can just scale in like crazy here, right? Because price should go down. Everything because you understood there is liquidity. Here is the OB, and here you got an additional trap in it. So, you know, 100% the SMC traders are out of the market, and that's what we need to understand. And this is what we need to take it in our favor, because then we know, hey, yo, we can scale in here like crazy. Next thing, price is moving down, as you can see, breaking another form of major structure. And then you can get here in your next OB. Look at this. For instance, you could say, I refine it like this. Now that would take you out, because technically you need to use the last up movement. So the high of it, right? And from where it started, well, actually from here, but we refine it because we understand the imbalance is here that needs to get filled in. So you use ideally the wicks. Even you can see right now the size is pretty big, and exactly the way and how we draw right now, it's ideally to draw. Okay, so next area, you got your liquidity here. You have a little bit of liquidity also here. Okay, and then what you expect, I mean, look at this, everything here just got hunted. So people thought that it will go crazy down and they need to jump on the train, but that's totally wrong. What you do here is, again, sell limit from the top. You could use 1 pip perfectly. It will take you in. Boom. 1 pip. Then a little bit cheeky, but why not cheeky? Because what price did here is, again, it broke structure to the upside, but it never broke it right now really to the downside. Okay, here this kind of thing was just a liquidity for this demand to bring price all the way back up. Okay, so here again you got the M1 boss trap for the retailers, because they think, look at this, they think M1 boss, I need to go exactly here in the supply. What we understand is, this is not where we'll look for our entries. We do not look specifically at this OB for our entries. The entries where we'll look for is this OB. Okay, so very important. Do not forget that. This is here just staged to make you believe, hey, yo, you need to pick up this OB. This doesn't need to be the ultimate high. Price could come all the way till the high. This is why we put our stop loss from this trade that high, because these kind of things like price did here can just happen all the time. And this is for us super important and relevant to understand. So this is why here in this case, this is again a trap supply in reality to just make people believe that it will go down from here, but in fact it will liquidate it and then move down. And then look at this, you really mitigated like the top of the OB. That means for us what? Well, the next order flow entry could be here, because price is then just moving down, right? It's providing you here liquidity, and that's all we want to see. Your liquidity and your entry to go for. Boom, moving down. And then the next OB is here. Okay, everything here else is efficient market, so no imbalance to get filled in. Here we got a big imbalance that price needs to fill in, so it's exactly here. And as you can see, it even broke here some form of structure. So right now it's time for a pullback. And where do you see your liquidity? It is exactly here. Price taking out the liquidity, and then it's moving like crazy from there. Boom. Okay, moving. As you can see here, another additional entry possibilities would have been possible. Again, order flow entry. In this case, again, you do not really have clean liquidity in this case. Maybe a little bit of a portion here, but not really significant. Significant liquidity points are always like this, right? This is very significant amount of liquidity. Yeah, till price will come to this demand. And right now here again, we need to look for a long. Ideally, you refine it like we always do. And you can see here, your refined demand is already somewhere here. That's exactly where price taps into. So again, risk type of entry would have been the go for. Now you wait for the M1 boss, which will be here. So where do you enter? Where do you enter? Actually, do you enter here? Do you enter here? I don't know. I would not enter here. I would enter down below there. Okay, looking probably in 5 seconds. If you can see there's something, right? Could be an option. Let's just check it out. But also in the 5 seconds, you do not always have exactly confirmations on that. So let's just check it out. 5 seconds. Yeah. So technically would have been valid to take, but it's not ideally for me personally. So you see here, price breaking structure to the upside, 2 wicks, so liquidating them. And then you could say, yeah, this is right now my demand there. I want to take it. So you could use that 100%. I would just consider it a little bit of being risky, but you can definitely do it. If you think that this demand, you don't know if it will hold, this is your interaction on the 5 seconds that would say, hey, yo, bro, it's valid to take, okay? Great. So, like I said, personally for me, there would have been no valid confirmation to take from, only the risk type of entry in the 5 seconds. Then price is moving, and then price is starting again to establish some form of order flow. Yeah, then let's just continue here. You got your next POI. Look at this. Price is moving down from there. We want to sell off from there. So you refine this to an M1 and you wait for price to come to it. And as you can see, same kind of thing. Price is grabbing your liquidity, breaking structure, and then you need to look for your entry. And in this case, risk type of entry would have been taking you totally in, but M1 boss, and this is the only supply zone that you could take, okay? Here, this whole block here, always be sure to use the order blocks correctly, because this one here, this was your liquidity for this order block. I mean, it's not an ideal situation. I mean, we are here also in the Asia session. Do not forget that it's a little bit different in the Asia session because it's more wiki. So yeah, but look, it's still the only context. Maybe you will see here on the M5 or so on something more cleaner in this example to which OB to choose from. Yeah, on the M5 it's clean, right? Because on the M5 it's the overall block here, and it needs to protect that because here is where it changed first character. I mean, it broke structure to the downside and so on. So that would be also the case. Okay. Wonderful. Let's just look on a few more examples if we can see something interesting. Yeah, I mapped out here already something. Let's just get it started. Let's just come here. So M15 order block, then M5, refine to M5, then we refine to M1. Yeah, M1, probably just using the Wix in this case. Okay. You see here to the left a little bit of liquidity. That's exactly where price comes into, right? So here price comes to liquidate this. After tap liquidity, look at this. Price did not even make a break of structure or anything. It's just corrected a little bit to create more liquidity here. Then the same thing one more time. And then this is again where people would probably say, hey, yo, we tapped into it. This is my M1 boss. But it isn't not even a real valid M1 boss. But people will do that because that's the reason why price came all the way back down. And that even after you mitigated all the low, okay, and we would have been tagged in with our risk type of entry, people would say, hey, yo, this is my new demand. This is where price needs to come. Now, these examples, to be honest, will never work out. So to wait for this, you wait really for, I don't know how many years the price will come to these levels. So here the same thing, no real options, only the option with the risk type of entry. Or you go with the 5 seconds. So let's see if the price gives us on the 5 seconds here some form of nice confirmations. Yes, it does. Exactly. Now I can even remember on this example, I did traded this. So look at this. Price is breaking structure, and then it's providing you here your demand area, and this here is your liquidity right now. Because it needs to mitigate something. Ideally, you just choose here the full block on them 5 seconds. This is where price needs to go. And this one here is already part of this, right? That was the M1 thing that we just mapped out early on, but that is not valid for us because price is already breaking structure, is in a new context, you know, it's breaking structure and so on. So you need to understand that price wants to hunt some form of liquidity. That's what it does. It broke structure, it confirmed your entry, and boom, you take it. Okay, exactly. From here, you place it within 1 pip again, maximum 2 pips, perfectly 1 pip, boom, and price is just moving to the upside. Perfect. So that was that entry. Let's see here what we have here. So again, M15 supply zone, then M5 supply zone, as you can see here, followed by a bigger, the whole range here in this case. I will go over this example as well, because it's not a typical example, but we need to learn everything, right? Because nothing is too typical. But this one here is pretty wonderful. So, you know, you see already, you know, if you understand how market really moves, you don't need your M1 boss shit. You know, you really don't need that, because you're the same kind of thing. Where the hell do you want to get into this trade with your M1 boss? No, you just understand. If you just look here on the price action, you just see already that what price is doing is just establishing order flow. You just see order flow, order flow, order flow. You see it, you see it. And then what price is doing is just collecting here a ton of liquidity to then tag you in, and you don't want to see anything of confirmations. You will only see confirmations if price doesn't have enough liquidity in the first place to trap you, and in the second place to get you then afterwards somewhere in the entry. So it's just crazy. I would not rely that much on that. Here we got a big supply zone on the M5, on the M1 technically, even if you see right that like that, where should it come? It should not come to the top, it should not come to this one. So it will just use some form of bigger things, which is this one, because there is a lot of pressure in it. And here you will need the M1 boss. In this case, you really need the M1 boss, because you understand the 2 PYs up there are not valid for us, because everything just moved crazy down, right? So you took out here a form of major liquidity and all these things, and this is your liquidity that price wants to target right now in order to then go down lower. You have here this additional liquidity, and then what you need to do is to wait for your first BOS, and your first BOS is here, and you could technically then say, yes, perfectly, I will use this supply. I go down here, short. And as you can see, this was a long interaction. And even if you say, you know, you don't take that here, you missed that there, you look here. One more time, M1 boss. And then you got your entry here and your liquidity here. Okay, so this is really not a typical example right now, but we still use it because it's interesting. I mean, we do not even consider anything here. Why? Because it's not the right timing. The right timing is again 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock starts, boom. And then you understand, okay, where could price go? You don't know, but ideally it's hunting something, right? So here is the high that it could hunt, potentially even this one. But you see then that price is hunting here, structure. It's hunting and it's giving you already the direction. That's important. So you need to use always timing here together with your M1 boss and together with everything else. So right now in all the examples that I went through, I've always choose the areas where the opening was of the London session. That's the best. It's the best time to trade, and also Frankfurt is also pretty fine. So last example, price moving down. Let's go straight to M1 because M5 is so unclear. Yeah, and here it's very ideal. What we see here is that in this case, M1 boss will work out, and that is pretty easy to understand why. Well, first of all, what price did is it created here a protective flow in this case. So you'll learn more about it in the timing session. So it's going from there. Yeah, it's not very perfect, but okay. It's breaking structure. And now the interesting thing about everything, and this is why in this case price went that much to the downside, because you had here so much liquidity, right? And that's exactly what price wanted to target. So you need to understand that, and this is the point where price is going for the hunt, and the imbalance is between the demand and the liquidity point. So this is exactly where price needs to go. Now, we do not trade off of imbalances because that's super risky, because in many cases that will not work out. So in this case, probably you will not be in the trade. I don't know. It depends on your spread. It depends on how you enter, you know. Maybe on some brokers you're in, on some brokers you're not in. So it's not very an ideal example, to be honest. But yeah, just showing you that this kind of things also can happen. And in this case, what will win is your patience, because you need to bring along a lot of patience in trading. And here we can see it probably exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so that trade was gone. Then you have here again the London session, and price is already starting to skyrocket during the London session. So what we need to understand is, again, you got your BOS here that was caused with London session. It left you with some form of demand here, but it's not relevant for us anymore because price is in a total different context as it's moving and moving and moving higher. That will depend then also on the higher time frame things, but we know this is our demand area. And what we understand is also, look at this, you have a ton of liquidity here available. So price will come to the liquidity point, and then you can look for your entry. And here the same kind of thing. Price is not even giving you the M1 boss that you're looking for again. It's not giving you that. Where do you want to get your M1 boss in this case? That would be your M1 boss. And then you wait for what? For price to come. Well, it's gone. Same kind of thing here. You need to understand that this is the POI, and you need to go with a risk type of entry already at the lowest point possible. Now, I also need to say that currently the time right now where I'm recording everything, it is exactly like that the market is super crazy and it's really not giving you too much M1 boss, Confirmations sometimes it's giving to you, but whenever it will give you the M on boss, you just need to understand the overall context. With the risk type of entry, are always better because you're really at the point where price should reverse in the trades, and that is everything that is relevant, and that's all what we want to target in reality here in trading. So with that being said, guys, hopefully you've learned a lot in this video. Try to put here as much as content as possible. For you right now, your job is go and map out entries on your chart and look that the timing is perfectly aligning. So bye bye.